Most people think they know the Colosseum. They imagine roaring crowds, two gladiators standing in the sand. One falls.
The crowd demands death.
Thumbs down. Blood spills. The end. But that image is only a fragment. Because the truth is far darker, far more complex, and far more human. What really happened inside the Colosseum was not just violence. It was fear, politics, survival, manipulation, and control, played out in front of 50,000 people at a time. This was not entertainment as we understand it today. It was power, performed. So let's step inside the Colosseum, not as tourists, but as witnesses. The day begins early. Before sunrise, Rome is already moving. Vendors set up stalls, citizens gather, soldiers control the streets. By mid-morning, more than 50,000 people flood into the Colosseum. The seating is not random. Your seat defines who you are. Senators sit closest to the arena. Wealthy citizens sit just above them. Women and the poor are pushed higher. Slaves stand or sit wherever space allows. From the top tier, the fighters look small. From the front row, you can smell the sand and what lies beneath it. Because the sand, arena, exists for one reason: to absorb blood. Gladiators were not all slaves. Some were prisoners of war, some were criminals, some were slaves sold by their owners, and some, shockingly, volunteered. Why? Because Rome was cruel to the poor. For many men, the gladiator school offered food, shelter, medical care, and a chance, however small, at fame. But once inside a ludus, gladiator school, freedom vanished. They trained under brutal discipline. They were beaten for mistakes, punished for weakness. They belonged not to themselves, but to their owner. They were living property. Beneath the Colosseum was a hidden city, the Hippodrome, a maze of tunnels, cages, elevators, and traps. Here, gladiators waited in darkness. Here, animals, lions, bears, leopards paced in terror. Wooden elevators lifted cages upward. Trapdoors snapped open without warning. Imagine standing in silence, hearing gears turn, feeling the platform rise, not knowing if you are about to face a trained killer, a wild animal, or certain death. The audience above had no idea how carefully everything was staged. This was not chaos. This was engineering. The games did not start with gladiators. They started with executions. Criminals were killed publicly, often in elaborate ways. Some were dressed as mythological figures. Some were burned. Some were torn apart by animals. These deaths were not accidents. They were lessons. Rome was saying, "This is what happens when you defy us." Only later came the gladiators, different types, different weapons, carefully matched. The goal was not quick death, it was suspense. No. This is one of the biggest myths. Gladiators were expensive. Training them took years. Feeding them cost money. Doctors treated their wounds with advanced care. Many fights ended in surrender. A defeated gladiator raised a finger, asking for mercy.
The crowd shouted.
The editor of the games, often the emperor, made the final call. Death happened, but not every time.
What mattered most was the crowd's emotion.
The Colosseum was not built for gladiators. It was built for control, free games, free food, spectacle without end. As long as the people were entertained, they didn't question taxes, wars, or corruption, bread and circuses. While blood soaked the sand, Rome ruled an empire. The Colosseum was not a failure of morality. It was a success of political strategy. The games lasted over 400 years, but Rome changed. Christianity rose. Values shifted. The empire weakened. Gladiatorial combat faded. The Colosseum was abandoned, then stripped, then damaged by earthquakes, then turned into housing, workshops, even a quarry. Yet it never vanished. Today, tourists walk through ruins. They take photos. They admire the architecture. But beneath their feet lies a memory of men who fought to survive, of crowds who cheered, of an empire that mastered spectacle. The Colosseum is not just a monument, it is a mirror, showing us what happens when entertainment replaces empathy and power hides behind applause. And that is what really happened inside the Colosseum.